So we're back, as I said, with my continuing review of Tron Legacy. Oops. Anyway, that's kind of why I actually wore this shirt tonight. Obviously not because it's Captain America or has anything to do with Captain America, but because it's the only shirt that I had that had like a disc that you could throw. So anyway, I know that's just retarded, but that's okay. I'm sorry, we're not supposed to use the word retarded. It's lame. Sorry, if you see flashing of light, for some reason, I have the TV on and it's tuned into Bram Stoker's Dracula, which is like the most terrible but visually interesting film that I can think of. It's hilariously funny once you get down to brass tacks. Anyway, Tron Legacy. Okay, so we pick up. The film opens in 1989, and Flynn, Kevin Flynn, now CEO of Encom, and he's been a pioneer in the gaming industry, and he's he's dedicated to bringing technology to the masses, so on and so forth. One night he leaves his young son Sam at home, who's just a 7-year-old boy, and he leaves and he disappears. And of course, years later, you've seen the trailer, so you know where I'm going. So we've got our three principal players, four principal players. You have Jeff Bridges, of course. You've got Garrett Hedlund, who I've never seen before in anything. So if somebody has seen him in something, please tell me. And I can look it up on IMDb. Anyway, you've got Olivia Wilde, who I think a lot of us know from House, and will soon know her from every other film that's coming out now. She was just in The Next 3 Days. She's in this. She's coming out this summer with Cowboys and Aliens, which, if you remember back to one of my vlogs that I did earlier, I was talking about a teaser trailer that I really, really loved, and it's for Cowboys and Aliens, because that's a great teaser trailer. It doesn't give the whole farm away. It sets up a good mood for the film, and gives you a slight hint as to what to expect. And it's got that great look that Daniel Craig gives the camera at the end of the trailer. So anyway, so now, and then you have your fourth character, which is the universe, the grid. That really is its own character. The most common complaint about the film, and this is where, again, if you go to Ain't It Cool, you'll see these reviews that I'm referring specifically to, which is the one by Harry and the one by Massaworm. And Massaworm talks about, it's really kind of a lazy default complaint about a film, saying that it's, especially about something like this, saying it's too simple. Because you're basically saying, and I agree, that when the concept is so high, basically what you're trying to construct is so massive, ultimately the story itself needs to be condensed. The more layers that you add on top of the visual aspect of the film, the more, as complex and abstract as it is visually, the more complex and abstract your story gets. You're just kind of mired in this confusion. So I really, really agree with him on that. Very good call, Massaworm. I have the thumbs up for that. So that does tend to be a little annoying. The second act is very kind of, it's not quite snail's pace, but it is slow, and there's a lot of exposition. But the first and third acts are, your eyeballs are, it's like, I hate to refer this, but, It's like Jim Carrey in The Mask. I mean, your eyes are just bulging out of your head because you cannot take the visual awesomeness that is going on. Because not only are we back in the grid, but the grid has fluid motion now. It's not just simply, when the light cycles are racing, they make they make a complete 90-degree turn. Each turn that they make, it's the movement. It swerves from side to side. It jumps. It looks phenomenal, and obviously, since the advent of films like The Matrix and the kind of the advent of bringing films, bring kind of this martial arts filming from from the East to the West, there is a lot of that kind of dynamic choreographed elements in some of the, at least in the disc fighting scenes that you'll see. Unfortunately, there aren't too many of them. I would have liked to have seen more of that. But it's disc fighting. The disc fighting is always cool. And they do not, thankfully, refer to it as a light disc. They refer to it as an identity disc, as they do in the first film, even though obviously it's changed design. It doesn't look like a Frisbee anymore. It looks like a really high-tech Frisbee. Anyway, so Flynn's son Sam gets into the grid, makes his way to his dad with the help of Quora, who is played by Olivia Wilde, who is innocent and sexy and smart and a really cool character for this universe that they're in, of the grid. She has no real conception of genuine human emotion, but she's starting to. Again, the film has a lot of different elements at work here. And another player is Michael Sheen, who plays this kind of this very kind of like Bowie-esque dyed hair, this very kind of glam rocky like madman. It's a fun character, and I think he had probably a good time playing it. But also the other character is Jeff Bridges, not just as Kevin Flynn, as the old Kevin Flynn, but as the 1989 Kevin Flynn, which looks flawless. Now, we've seen some of the examples of digital de-aging. The most prominent that I can think of was in X3, the last, X-Men: The Last Stand. Fuck you, Brett Ratner. And where they de-aged Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen. This is much more significant. Every shot, every close-up of Kevin Flynn's face, there's only one moment where it does look a little fake, and that's near the very, very end. And if you see the film, I'm sure you'll see what I'm talking about, where there is this shot where it's a close-up of his face, and you can't tell, yeah, that's computer animated. But every other shot of him looks perfect. I mean, it looks like Jeff Bridges looked in 1989. It's really, like I said, that's super flawless. There's nothing about the visual aspect of this film that can be bitched about. It looks perfect. There's great little Easter eggs peppered throughout the film with referring to the original film. There's a great surprise in the film. There's a really interesting cameo. Also, I didn't know it was who it was. And this is somebody that's back in the human world. I'm not going to give it away. It's not really a huge, thing anyway, but it's pretty significant, and it could be a tentpole to sequels to this film as a potential villain. And that's really exciting. So, I mean, all in all, the experience of the film is great. See it on the big screen while you have the chance. I couldn't risk seeing it in IMAX because literally I would have no head right now. It would just have been blown off my neck. Great, 8.5 out of 10. Maybe closer to even 9. I know we're closing, and I know you've been with me for a long time. I appreciate that. There's a lot to talk about with this film, so I'm going to cut it now. But thanks for joining me. We'll see you again real soon at the Shadow Gallery.